I want to talk about discipline with intention. Many people talk about discipline from different angles, and discipline seems to be something that you need to work on really, really hard to be able to maintain that routine. Yeah. First of all, I'm not a fan of too much fan of the language routine. I'm not a fan of the language discipline the way most people interpret. In this video, I wanted to talk about my interpretation of how I see discipline, which is necessary, but a little bit of different angle perspective. So, what is discipline, right? Discipline is an ability and a capacity to stay consistent in something that you said that you wanted to do to execute. So basically, it's a language that describes how we can walk our talk. Yeah, how much we can walk our talk. And then it begins by being able to give attention to it because often when people are drifting out of that discipline activity, discipline can be action, right? Many people talk about exercise, many people talk about consistency in different action. But for me, one of the most important discipline is to be disciplined with our thinking. Because if you're not intentionally and deliberately having an awareness that you are forming your thoughts by choice, you will end up drifting to subconsciously thinking thoughts based on your default state. Default state comes from your past present pattern. And there are things that we positively leaning into the expansive thoughts as a pattern. But for many people, that's not the case. Yeah. It's been said that 90% of the thoughts that we think, okay, 70% of the thoughts that we think are negative, and 90% of the thoughts that you thought yesterday, something that you think today, right? I think I got that information from Jack Canfield. He was the author of The Chicken Soup for the Soul. I remember him saying that. And that seems to be very accurate, right? But if your thoughts, 70% of the thoughts are negative based on the survival part of you, the fear part of you, and focus on the negativity. And if you're thinking 90% of the thoughts that you thought yesterday, today again, the habitual way of thinking for most people is negative. So they're feeling disempowered. They're feeling stuck in their current state because negative thoughts doesn't create flow in our energy and we stay stuck in the same place, right? So we're talking about discipline. The most important discipline that we can cultivate is to be disciplined with our thinking. And it's very subtle because the first step that we want to practice is to begin shifting our attention from the outside to the inside. And it means that when you are, engaging in the world, including watching or listening to this video, you have the sound that's coming from the outside, which is my voice, and you might be watching the visual, whatever that you're watching, the microphone, myself, and the wall and the chair. Yeah. And then when you are bringing that information from the outside world through your visual and then the auditory, I'm asking you to focus on your inside because then there is a thinking pattern that's running in your mind, the perception, the filter, the lens that you're seeing through the world. And to bring your attention to that, which is for most people is a background, but then we're gonna bring that as your forefront in your front, so you are focusing on it. It's almost like, let's do a little bit of practice. So if you're have your hands free, unless you're driving, right? Have your hands on your thighs and begin rubbing like this. Yeah. Now keep rubbing and then keep rubbing and then feel that sensation of your palms and then bring your attention to my, the voice and what I'm talking about and to become aware that you're watching and seeing what you're watching, right? Then the moment I start directing you to what to focus on, your rubbing hands became your background, right? Now keep rubbing, right? Now keep listening to me and keep watching myself. And then as you listen to and watch myself, see if you can bring attention to the sensation of your palms, right? Now your background became You're bringing that to your forefront, but then you're still hearing and listening to me and watch me. Yeah. That's what you can practice. That's how you can practice, right? And the thoughts that you're moment to moment thinking when you're engaging in the physical world is like that rubbing of your hands and sensing that sensation in your palms. And how can you stay connected to that? What for most people is a background to bring your spotlight. It's like us bringing a spotlight to that background. So you're noticing what you're thinking moment to moment. Yeah. So the most important discipline that anybody can practice is to be disciplined with our thoughts. Now, let's talk about discipline in a different way, right? So when you hear discipline, what this word make you feel? Is it a little heavy? Is it a little restricting? Is it a little like a trying? You need to try to be disciplined. Yeah. The more you are disciplined and the more you start doing things what you said, right? So the walking, the talk, the more actually you start building a sense of confidence because that's how we build confidence. You start trusting in your own words, right? When you begin executing and doing things and to be executing and fulfilling what you said that you're going to do. Um, but then if you are having some heaviness in that language, the way that I like to see is we want to have a discipline, we want to practice discipline with intention, right? Intention is a fabulous language because it gives us a sense of openness. It gives us a sense of um, like moving into something, right? And then you are very mindful about it, right? So discipline, the way that most people use that language has a little rigidity in it, right? So you gotta get to this, right? You wanna wake up at a certain time, yeah. But when you change that language to discipline with intention, right? Discipline with intention because what if I do this in a certain period of time in a consistent manner, dedication, right? Committing to something might have a little more, um, the tryingness compared to the dedicatedness, right? Dedication seems like it's a wonderful thing, right? You might have a different perspective, right, about each language, but you can kind of pick and choose what works for you, right? What resonate with you. So I think it's really important because if you are trying to be disciplined, when you feel the term discipline heavy, you will resist against it, if that makes sense. So it's really important to make the language softer and lighter and natural and resonate with. It's important to feel good about those language that we use. And when we start using the language in a way that resonate with us, that it needs to feel like we want to do this, right? To be excited about being disciplined. How can you make discipline something that makes you excited about? For me, if I say, being disciplined with intention, which is a practice, which is a sacred practice to be able to dive deeper into the essence of who I am. And then through this discipline with intention, I'm able to unfold the version of myself that I'm here to live. Now, through discipline with intention, I'm able to allow that part of me to unfold. Therefore, I will be more effective in illuminating the world. So you connect the dots to what this discipline with intention will lead you into, then it becomes more powerful because you're uncovering the why. Now you're uncovering, the change in the way you move through life becomes much coming from something bigger instead of trying to change this piece without having that fundamental reason of why we're doing what we're doing, if that makes sense. Yeah. So my invitation today is to be disciplined with the thoughts by practicing that rubbing of the hands and the sensation as you engage in this physical world. And then to begin shifting the perception of what discipline means for you. So you feel excited about creating that discipline in your life. I truly believe that, when I look at different people that I have met, those who are disciplined and those who discipline became their natural way of living, way of life and identity, they are actually moving the needle forward. So I think it's a necessary mental muscle and awareness that we want to cultivate. So let me know what kind of discipline you want to practice. And if there's any other language that resonates with you more, a discipline with intention is what I use for myself that allows me to dive into the commitment and dedication and devotion to do everything that I'm doing. So let me know. See you in the next video.